is going on, guys? Tempo Trades. In today's video, we're going to be going over some more IFEG setups, and specifically just a simple 4-step strategy that makes me 5 figures in profits every single month with prop firms. So on May 1st, we're going to be looking at my May trades. This is what is possible. Again, this isn't with one account. I copy trade over 20 funded accounts, and just on Thursday, May 1st, I made $7,247 taking one trade. And again, it is a 4-step simple process. Okay, we are waiting for a major liquidity sweep. You can see in the top right, we are waiting for a major liquidity sweep. We identify a low time frame IFEG setup. So once we get a sweep on the hourly or the 4-hour, you know, we're just dropping down to the 30-second, the 1 minute, the 2 minute, and we're looking for an IFEG reversal setup. You know, you enter and you're just targeting opposing range liquidity, and that's it. Again, you can go back test this 70-80% win rate month after month after month. All right, guys, here is trade setup number 1 coming in on May 5th. So this is actually an example of an SMT. Okay, so I took this setup on ES, and basically what this is saying is NQ had this same London low and actually swept the low. ES didn't have a clean sweep. It was more so a tap. So you created that bullish SMT, right? So you have the liquidity sweep, you have the bullish SMT. Now we're looking for a reversal to the upside. You know, you have this IFEG right here. I enter long on ES once that candle closes, and you can see how price just gravitates to the other side of the range and goes for the other liquidity. This blue line is the Asia high. This red line is the London high. We know price wants to go there because that is major liquidity, and we're just, you know, finding a kind of reversal model to seek that out. So that is the first trade that I want to show you on Thursday. This is probably an A or an A plus setup. There's just a lot of confluences here. Again, really high win rate, and you can also see the momentum of these candles. There's no stalling. These are nice green healthy candles showing me that the strength of this reversal is massive. All right, and here is setup number 2 coming in on the very next day. I made $19,468 on this trade, and I also called this trade out live in my private community. I said I love the longs in this area before we even got the entry, but you can see here this level I marked out at 19,749. That is a 4-hour low. So all we're doing is we're waiting for the 4-hour low to sweep. We're waiting for price to reverse. We identify an inverted fair value gap, and we enter long once that fair value gap hits. And you can see how price just reverses from a sell model on my left to now a buy model on the right. And we caught 140 points, it looks like, right here. And this probably was my biggest trade of the month. My goodness. All right, here is a data wick setup. And it says I made $17,000 on this trade. I actually fumbled this trade, if I'm being honest. Here are my executions. I gave up a lot of profit on the table. So here's the setup, okay? Normally you get these data wicks sometimes. This looks like it was during 2 p.m. So that means probably FOMC. We got this data wick right here. We swept the top side. So now we're expecting price to reverse and go for the bottom side, right? So I'm looking for shorts. I identify the inverted fair value gap. I enter short, and I'm targeting that drawn liquidity, which is the data low. Now, typically, whenever you hit the data high or data low, price tends to reverse. It doesn't keep going in that same direction. So in this situation, I actually ended up entering. You can see my executions here. I actually ended up entering here, holding for the low, and I got out my full position. I didn't hold runners. I didn't take partials. I just trimmed my entire position. But price really kept going for 100 more points. So it's just funny to look back on. Again, with trading, you're never going to guess the top and bottom correctly every single time. So you can't beat yourself up over stuff like this because it's going to eat at you. But you just have to take it as a lesson. You know, in the future, if I'm seeing this good of a momentum, is it an idea to maybe hold 1 or 2 micros as a runner just in case? Yeah, that's something to consider in the future. But once again, still a green trade. Still super happy with how I executed and the profits I made from this trade. And, you know, data wicks, they don't happen every week sometimes, but when they do happen, you definitely got to capitalize on them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this example, we actually have a loss. And the funny part is I got faked out of this trade, and this trade would have been a win if I didn't get faked out, or even maybe if I re-entered. So again, textbook, we're only looking for 4 things: liquidity sweep, reversal, IFEG, entry model, right? Where's our liquidity sweep? Our liquidity sweep is this Asia low right here. Now we're looking for a reversal. After the sweep, we get 2 lovely strong green candles telling us that a reversal might be happening at this area. Now we look for our entry model, the inverted fair value gap. We have a decently sized fair value gap, 20 points right here. Entry model, we just wait for a candle to close over it, and then we enter long, and now we're just targeting the opposite side of the range, right? So what went wrong here is typically a stop loss will be a close underneath the inverted fair value gap, but sometimes price is already underneath the gap in your stop loss zone, but there is a ton of time left on the candle, and that's when you have to make a decision for yourself. Am I going to wait and potentially take a 2 or 3x loss? Because, you know, if the price is already in your stop loss zone and there's a minute left, there's no telling where it's going to end. It could go down even more. So you have to make a split decision. It's like, okay, based on all the things, based on the momentum, the time left, do I want to stay in this trade and risk it, or just get out and hopefully not get faked out? In this example, price was deep in my zone, actually. You could see right here, I actually ended up getting out, and then it faked me out and went up. So in this example, I don't think the initial loss is that bad of a decision, especially, again, like I said, if there's a ton of time left in this candle, I don't think it's a bad idea to get out. But I definitely could have entertain the idea of re-entering, because I would have made my entire loss back and then probably some profits, because we created a 1-minute order block. It's really good momentum, so that's something to consider in the future. But this is a textbook setup, a reversal sweep off of the Asia low. It's something I take every single week, and I've made a ton of money with, so I'm gonna keep taking it. And yeah, this one was just unlucky. All right, so this one was kind of a lower quality setup. If I had to give it a rating, it wasn't really a liquidity sweep, so I'd give something like this a B setup. This was the call out. It was based on the SMT and the drawn liquidity, right? So we had some bullish divergence at the low here with ES, and then we had our drawn liquidity, which was New York high a day. So I knew that if that SMT was going to hold, we had a chance of trending up to this level, and price wanted to seek that out. So I took this play right here. Again, I'd give this like a B or a B plus. It's definitely not going to have a 70-80% win rate. Something like this is going to have maybe a 50, 60, maybe mid 60s. But yeah, I decided to take it. And again, thankfully, it went right to my 2 TPs, and we caught a nice play here. On to one of our last couple of setups here. This is just an example, man. You've seen a lot of home run setups in this video where it's gone 100 points, and that's great. But I don't want to give you a false expectation. You're not going to catch 100 points every single day, and sometimes you need to play what the market's going to give you. Sometimes the market may just give you a 20-30 point trade, and you need to take your base hit and move on to the next day. And that was kind of an example of this. I caught a setup. I don't recall if there was an SMT, but this is just another kind of B setup, just a little base hit. Nothing too crazy about this setup, but I caught about 16 points. We didn't get anything else. We kept it pushing, and I ended up requesting a payout on that day because of it. So I just want to let you guys know, I'm not going into the market looking for a 100-point trade. If it gives me it, great. But I react to what the market gives me, and that is the way you need to think about it, so you don't force things. Last but not least, another ginormous day for me, $19,185 off of this short right here. And once again, you can see me calling this short out before it even happened. So there's no hindsight, there's no faking this. I said ES is sweeping London high, NQ's tapping into an hourly gap. I'm looking for a reversal. And then right here, I clearly say I'm gonna take a short. So yeah, this is pretty textbook for my model. Like I said, I like to play the daily range. So if we're at the top of the range, I want to be shorting back down to the equilibrium. If we're at the bottom of the range, I want to be longing. So you could see how overextended we are up here, and I'm looking for just a little retracement move back down to the 50%. And I end up taking it here. And thank God I waited for an actual candle close this time, because you could see price wicks above in my stop loss area, but I decided to hold through it and hold through this trade, and because of that, we caught this entire thing And yeah, this was a really, really big trade, about 130 points profit there. And yeah, just catching a trend. Like that's when you're going to make a lot of money. When you actually catch the start of a reversal and the start of a new trend, there is a lot of potential with that. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed. That was going over some of my trades in the month of May. Like I said, there were some huge days and there were also some small days, but we take what the market gives us, and this model is only 4 simple steps. We're looking for liquidity sweep. We're hitting that level, looking for the reversal, and taking the entry model. Let the model do all the other work. Don't put your human emotion and other things that are going to affect the win rate in it. Just trust the model, let it play out. And, you know, for me, it's changed my life. I'm hitting some insane days, as you can see. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you want to learn more about the model, free course is in the description. See you on the next one. Peace.